Chapter 15 The Circle of Stones. The painting fits snugly over the entrance. The, fr- the short string the frame hung from allowed little movement. How am I going to get all my things past the drawing and down the stairs without ripping it or falling? I wish I had made Edmond stay and help me. Lanoya set her things down and wedged herself between the door and the canvas. I do not recall this being so heavy before. This is not going to work. My own drawing will push me down the stairs. She sighed and inched back into the corridor. Her fingers tapped her lips. There has to be a way down without falling. Selina did it. Lanoya grinned. The door was already open. She pried the painting away from the wall and placed her foot at the bottom to prevent it from falling back into place. Lanoya nudged the door open with one hand on the frame. She slid one foot down onto the first step. She smiled and stepped backward onto the next stair. Her shoulder pressed against the drawing, creating a large enough gap for her to grab her candle, blanket, and drawing supplies. The candle provided little light. Lanoya squinted her eyes. She could make out the wall, but the stairs were impossible to see. She sat down and placed her things on the step. Lanoya reached over and tugged at the picture frame. Once she was satisfied, it hid the opening. She swung the door shut. She scooped her things up and leaned against the wall, using it to guide herself down to the bottom. Lanoya beamed. I did it. I made it. Now I can finally be alone, and I can draw what I want, when I want. I will not have to speak to those dreadful teachers again. She held the candle out and advanced into the room. I wish this place had torches, to light it up. Lanoya wandered around the edges of the room and found two torches. She was not tall enough to light either one of them. Oh well, I can get a stool on the morrow. This even I can lie on the ground and examine the stones. Lanoya knelt down and waved the candle over the red stones. They were laid out in pairs, forming a circle. Teacher Lady Kitess was right. These stones have the same symbols as the tapestries in the meeting room. She tilted her head and traced the symbols with her fingers. The stone was soft like sand, but the design did not change at her touch. They did not come up off the stone or create a tingling sensation like the ones in the tapestry did. There were 15 pairs of stones with different symbols on each pair. There are 15 tapestries, too. I wonder why each set of signs has one facing the outside toward me, and the one next to it facing toward the center of the circle. Unable to view the whole circle from the outside, she crawled into the middle. Calm spread over her body, and Lanoya's muscles relaxed. This feels better than curling up under my blanket in my alley. She twisted around in the circle, sweeping dust and dirt up in her skirt. Once One is upside down and one is right side up, so it doesn't matter if I'm inside or outside of the circle. The symbol is clear. She stood up and shuffled around the room, pausing at each pair of stones. Lanoya grinned. One is always facing the right way on the outside as well. What an intricate design. I wonder who thought of it. Lanoya yawned. Those awful teachers kept me awake all sun. I am afraid I will have to sleep this even. I am sure it will not be long before I am sleeping during the sun again. I have to. It will be the only way to get food and drawing supplies without being spotted. She bunched up the blanket and rested next to the symbol for imitators. The inside of the circle is comforting somehow. Lanoya rolled into the circle. She had not noticed the indentation before. Her fingers slid along a tiny crevice that twisted and turned all around the inside of the circle. Lanoya grabbed the candle, placed it in the center of the circle, and stood up. The energy surged inside her, and lines became more prevalent. Another unknown symbol rested in the middle. No, there are two of the same symbols facing opposite each other and forming a circle of their own. The lines forming these new figures rotated, slow at first, but the speed increased, and the dust swirled around her until the image stood in front of her. But what or who is that? She placed her hand on her chest. Her pulse was normal. Her breath was deep and slow. I still feel at peace, in the center. But how? The energy usually makes my heart race. And fingers dance with anticipation. She stepped into the swirling image. It enveloped her like a warm blanket, then dissipated. Lanoya glanced down at the figures once again etched in the ground. If the teachers knew about this, they would guard this room and not let anyone down here. I will not tell them. I think whoever or whatever this represents is here to protect me. I have not felt so safe and secure in my life. Lanoya retrieved the blanket from the outside of the circle and returned to the center of the circle over the peaceful symbols. She sank down, yawned, and arranged the blanket. Lanoya smiled and drifted off to sleep with the image of the swirling figure dancing in her dreams.